Okay, I'm at the point where I'm ready to start shaping the top of the hat. And I've designed the hat so that there are 140 stitches, and I've divided those into groups of 14, so there are 10 groups. So at the top of the hat, I'm going to have 10 places where I'm going to shape. And the way that we're going to do this is with a knit two together. Knit two together is a right slanting decrease. So if I have a knit and a purl, and I have a purl and then a knit, and I use a knit two together, that knit stitch is going to cover the purl, and it's just going to disappear. So this is how the series of decreases are going to go. I'm going to be doing a knit over a purl, decrease, then a knit over a knit, decrease, and then a knit over a purl, and so on. And it's going to give this, I don't want to say decorative, but not unattractive shaping at the top of the hat. And that's a problem with a lot of hats. When you look at a hat pattern, you should always determine if it's an attractive shaping, because that's where a good hat pattern, that's what separates a good hat pattern with a bad hat pattern. Now, I've worked up to the point where I've got about 7 inches. I've got my band down here that's 1.5 inches, and then my hat. And again, this is one size fits all because ribbing is very stretchy. If it's worn on a smaller head, it's not going to be stretched much at all. If it's worn on a larger head, it's going to be stretched. Just depends. And you can see that I have placed a marker at about every 14 stitches. And how this is going to work, I've already worked a couple of stitches. I'm going to work in pattern as established, which is knit 1, purl 1, up to 2 stitches before my, and I realize I knit funny, I hold my needle like a pencil, so my yarn, my thumb is under the work. Don't let that distract you too much. It's how I like to knit. Okay, and I'm gonna knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and there I am. Now I have placed those markers so that the first stitch at the beginning of the round was a purl stitch, and that guarantees that the last stitch next to the marker is going to be a knit stitch, so that when I do my knit two together, there you go. It's going to cover up that purl. I'm going to shift my marker over and then work up to my next decrease. Now I'm going to continue that on this round, and then I'm going to work a plain row just in pattern, and then I'm going to decrease on the next row. Decreases will be made every other row, and I am going to do that until I've got 10 stitches on my needle. And as the piece gets smaller, I'm probably going to have to switch needles. I've got a fairly large needle here. I can switch to double point needles if you're comfortable using those, or I can magic loop it. But either way, you just have to find needles that are comfortable to work with as you get down to that point.